I've never heard you say one thing bad about Jay-Z, not one.
He's not in the room. You shouldn't talk about him.
Don't tell me what to do.
You said you shouldn't talk about men
Now
when they're not in the room.
You're interrupting me.
Now you're doing the girl stuff.
I know him. I'm giving you an example, right?
You used to know him.
Can I talk?
Charlamagne Tha God stormed out of the Breakfast Club studio this morning, and by noon, he was done. His reputation shattered. The so-called king of hip-hop radio dethroned in a single morning. The fallout hit instantly.
When you say kids, I was like, and it ain't no disrespect, but I kind of think you're gay. You just act a little gay.
A problem with gay people?
Not at all. I've got a problem with people that pretend they're not gay.
Insiders say Power One 05.1. Bosses pulled the plug on him just hours after that brutal, no mercy interview with Dame Dash. This wasn't some quiet exit. Management made it loud and clear. They didn't just yank his chair. They made it public, sending shockwaves through the industry that the era of untouchable radio giants is officially dead. And the chaos didn't stop with a press release. A staffer was even overheard whispering to a guest, "They finally did it. He's out." They couldn't protect him. Right after that, advertisers started scrambling, with at least 2 big national sponsors demanding distance, saying their brands were way too valuable to risk being tied to what one insider blasted as the most reckless broadcast of the year. The spark? That Dame Dash interview that blew up live on air just after 9 a.m. Tuesday. The same show that made Charlamagne a household name had now turned into his public downfall, and it spiraled out of control fast. Even for a show built on chaos, Dame Dash went nuclear. He didn't just question Charlamagne's credibility, he crushed him.
Saying that's your way, but you're just not masculine. I've seen him run. I looked at a whole reel of, there's like a thing that says how many people bark. There's stuff that how many times you talk about other people's genitals.
I would advise you not to make up phony sources without real names, or we will have a legal problem. He barked on Instagram just minutes after storming out. On tape, he leaned across the table, accusing Charlamagne of hiding allegiances, mocking his manhood, and even hinting at a secret, years-long connection to some of hip-hop's most powerful players. The panel froze. Laura L.A. rolled her eyes mid-segment, then instantly grabbed her phone, texting a producer. "We're about to trend for all the wrong reasons." And she was right. Within the hour, executives were drafting a suspension memo, and by lunch, Charlamagne's face was already wiped clean from the website. By 3 p.m., the first major advertiser had cut ties. Backstage, the fallout got uglier. A producer says Charlamagne lingered in the green room, looking shaken before slipping out a side door, like a man already exiled from his own empire.
For me, it's like this with this particular situation, because I'm cool with Steve, but Dave's my big bro at the same time. So to me, it's like this. Whenever Dame does an interview, you know about 90% of the time, Jay-Z's name is going to get brought up.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like Dame is just always saying something negative or something not positive about Jay-Z.
What came next was pure industry legend. Several co-hosts, a senior engineer, and even a couple interns, thinking no one was recording, started roasting him out loud. "He's finished," one said. Another piled on. "He was loyal to the wrong people. Now look at him." It wasn't mild at all. A former road manager claims to have heard the audio from inside the staff corridor and swears it sounded more like a savage roast than a breakdown. They laughed, they mocked, they called him a disgrace to the brand. For years, the Breakfast Club sold this image of unity on air. But today, that paper-thin loyalty ripped apart like a script tossed in the trash. Insiders say iHeart bosses didn't even need to lift a finger. The crew handed them a golden ticket on a silver platter, spiced with gossip. By 4 p.m., a junior exec was already bragging to friends. "He's not coming back from this." And honestly, who survives a mutiny like that? But here's the real danger. It's not just the insults in person. Word is, there's tape. Backstage audio that could leak at any moment, allegedly catching Charlamagne's own people laughing and tearing him apart once the cameras cut. 3 label veterans whisper that if that clip drops, it'll be the final nail in his reputation. Game over for good. Whispers are already flying in PR circles about full-blown crisis plans. iHeartRadio hasn't confirmed if those recordings even exist, but insiders swear the legal team is grinding overtime, gearing up in case those tapes leak to a blog or media outlet. Just picture it, the world hearing what his own friends said about him when they thought nobody was listening. For Charlamagne, a man who built his whole persona on surviving drama, this scandal cuts different. It's a beast with teeth, striking at the exact hour of his greatest humiliation. And just when the rumors reached fever pitch, Dame Dash dumped gasoline on the blaze. Hours after the interview, Dame hit Instagram with a warning shot.
Hey, the difference between you and I don't think you're a proper representation of the masculine black man. You know what I'm saying? I don't think you guys are.
I'm listening. Okay.
Not just at Charlamagne, but at anyone even thinking about defending him. Don't try to compromise my reputation. I have proof to support everything I say, and it'll stand in any court. That line turned into a rallying cry across the industry. Insiders from Roc Nation and 2 other powerhouse labels claim Dame really is sitting on receipts, hinting at evidence linking Charlamagne to a decade of shadowy backchannel alliances with some of hip-hop's most famous male rappers. And if those details go public, it wouldn't just kill his career, it could rip open long-whispered rumors and drag in names nobody thought would ever get touched. This isn't just about a job anymore. It's a scandal that could swallow the whole scene. Insiders close to the Breakfast Club aren't buying the coincidence theory. When it comes to Charlamagne's legendary loyalty to Jay-Z, they say the truth runs deeper. The man who built his brand on tearing guests apart somehow spent years tiptoeing around Hav, and not out of respect. His silence was currency. A veteran PR rep who's been tied to Roc Nation since the Blueprint 3 days says flat out, there's no way it was just friendship. He was getting favors, perks, special treatment.
I didn't finish my thought.
Okay, finish it.
You see what's going on? Now, if I started yelling, they be saying I'm bugging.
Yeah.
But this is, remember I told you this is how I get triggered. Just let me teach. If you don't know, listen. Listen to the teacher. I'm teaching you right now because this is a business you don't know. You've been in this room for 30 years straight.
15.
So you're missing a lot of life.
Sure, we all saw Charlamagne rocking those paper plane hats, but insiders insist it didn't stop with free merch. For years, whispers have grown about Roc Nation envelopes, quiet payments, front row seats, and hush-hush studio access, all delivered through trusted middlemen. And in return, radio silence on Jay-Z's missteps. It's the kind of pay-for-play hustle that once got whole radio stations investigated. Only this time, it wasn't about spins. It was about shielding one of hip-hop's biggest moguls from critique. Now, with Charlamagne's empire collapsing, that loyalty to Hav looks less like brotherhood and more like a straight-up pipeline. The so-called watchdog didn't just go soft. Insiders say he might have been bought out, one comped VIP table at a time. The stakes here slice deeper than just one radio show. They hit the credibility of the entire hip-hop ecosystem. Fans expected truth, not backroom perks, and that's why the betrayal stings so hard. This is the same host who roasted rappers about shady deals, who called out industry politics, yet behind the curtain, he was allegedly playing his own game. A former producer who quit the network last spring says it was common knowledge that if Jay-Z's name came up, the tough questions magically disappeared. That's how Charlamagne kept landing those golden access interviews.
You can't say things you don't know and sound confident because people listen to you and you get in the algorithm. Do your research before you start spreading things.
What did we say wrong?
What did we say wrong?
You said 50 got the rights. You just said it.
No,
Someone
absolutely.
asked you if 50 had the rights.
The network won't touch those claims, but after this week, insiders admit plenty of execs are kicking themselves for not paying closer attention. The audience saw the sudden implosion, but the industry has been watching the slow erosion of trust for years. And in today's world, where transparency is the only armor, even whispers of secret payouts can turn a so-called watchdog into nothing more than a lapdog, bought and paid for. And Dame Dash, he knew exactly what pressure point to hit. In that now infamous interview, he didn't just question Charlamagne's credibility, he shredded his masculinity, mocked his street rep, and dangled rumors of hidden connections. It wasn't ego warfare, it was a direct hit at the very foundation of his career. I don't think you're the proper representation of the masculine black man, Dame declared. And clips of that moment tore through the internet like wildfire. In hip-hop, respect is currency. And once you lose it, the whole room slips away. No matter how many viral moments you've got stacked up. This wasn't a slip, it was a calculated strike. A reputational airstrike that replayed all week across social feeds. Dame's attack wasn't random, it was precise. A direct hit on Charlamagne's ability to hold the room for a host whose entire power came from never backing down. Being branded as soft, even indirectly, is a bullet wound that never heals. One veteran publicist put it cold. Dame played the long game. He went for the only thing Charlamagne couldn't protect, his tough guy image. And it worked. By the end of the broadcast, Charlamagne wasn't just defending his job. He was clawing to defend his entire identity.
Move forward. Let's move with F1
Continue
speed.
on,
Don't
Dame.
pretend to be foolish. You know you're talking to a smart man. You know, you made me forget what I was going to say. See?
You're talking about the movie about
Oh, Godfather.
Correct.
So do you remember he pretended to be weak? His crew was like, yo, why you letting them push and muscle us? And then all of a sudden, he hit the 5 families in one day. He waited for his mother to asked his little brother to come to the lake house and popped him.
The fallout snowballed overnight. Rap blogs, fan podcasts, even former Breakfast Club regulars piled on, flipping the narrative in real time. By midnight, one industry vet texted, "He can't come back from this. If Dame drops anything real, he's radioactive." This wasn't just humiliation. It was a full-scale takedown of a brand built on bravado. This wasn't just a bad week. It was a full-scale branding collapse in a business built on bravado. Once you get painted as the softest in the room, it's career quicksand, no way out. For over a decade, Charlamagne's grip on the culture machine felt untouchable. He was the gatekeeper. Artists, managers, and every hungry tastemaker knew that a seat on the Breakfast Club meant validation, an entry ticket to the big table. One appearance could spark a viral moment, launch a meme, or even flip a career back from the dead. Charlamagne built his power by mastering both sides of the game, the sharp-edged grilling on camera and the velvet handshake off air. He demanded accountability while dangling access like bait, and for years, the path to legitimacy ran straight through his studio. Industry insiders still remember the nervous jitters before getting a confirmed booking, the late-night strategizing on how to handle his tough questions, the panic when whispers spread that your segment might get scrapped if you suddenly fell from his grace. That mix of fear and opportunity was Charlamagne's empire. Until now, when the same empire is crumbling under his own image. The phones went dead, bookings vanished overnight. PR teams scrambled while record labels quietly rewrote campaign plans. The fall from kingmaker to pariah happened at breakneck speed. The same platforms and personalities who once begged for his approval now tear apart every misstep with forensic joy. Even casual listeners sense the shift. Fan forums and socials buzz with threads calling it poetic justice. The irony, an industry famous for protecting its inner circle, is now gleefully amplifying every ugly leak.
Last time I was here, I said, you don't mess with, that's why I don't be around men. So we all know they betrayed Jesus. I said this.
You walked in here with a man.
Can I finish, please? Charlamagne?
Stop cutting him off.
Don't you do the therapy thing?
Yeah, but
I want you to ask your therapist, do you interrupt people and how problematic that is at this age?
But you said you don't be around.
It feels like the whole scene has teamed up to prove one lesson. No one is bigger than the machine, not even the man who thought he ran it. And this isn't just personal, it's institutional. Syndication partners that once hung on Charlamagne's every word are moving in silence, reshuffling schedules and bracing for the brand to turn radioactive. Old rivals smell blood in the water. The very people he once froze out of interviews now find themselves back in demand, getting calls from the same shows and networks that once ignored them. Charlamagne's absence has redrawn the map of influence almost overnight, creating a new economy of access. And at the heart of it all, a wave of poetic justice. For everyone who felt crushed under his reign. For years, Charlamagne held the power to shape the culture, asking brutal questions, sometimes even pushing fragile artists over the edge. But now that same relentless energy is aimed right back at him. Commentators, ex-guests, even sideline producers are using his own playbook against him. And this time, he's the one under the burning spotlight with nowhere to run. And when the questions finally flipped, the psychological toll hit hard. Public shaming on this scale is rare in hip-hop media, an industry that usually buries power shifts behind closed doors. But Charlamagne's collapse is happening center stage, and every second of it is being dissected in real time. The man once known for resurrecting careers or burying them now finds himself drowning in the same storm he used to unleash on others. His silence, his absence, feels louder than his once booming voice. Even critics admit there's something tragic in watching a man who engineered so many public reckonings finally face one of his own, with no allies left to shield him. And in the shadow of his downfall, one warning lingers for everyone in the game. Nobody stays untouchable forever. In media, today's gatekeeper can become tomorrow's exile. The machine is ruthless, and the same spotlight that crowned Charlamagne is now exposing every crack in his legacy. Power in this game always comes with an expiration date, and the feeding frenzy is already moving on to the next name. If Dame Dash is bluffing about his evidence, he's playing it like a master strategist. But if he's not, if those files are real, things could go nuclear fast. 3 insiders who've crossed paths with Dame before warn he never fires blanks. One even claims he's sitting on a vault of old texts, business emails, and grainy backstage footage linking Charlamagne to a constellation of hip-hop heavyweights. No one outside Dame's inner circle has seen the so-called receipts, but every whisper sparks new flames. And the real danger? What if those files don't just torch Charlamagne?
You don't get with that person's children, and you know better than that, so don't act stupid.
If y'all are beefing, then that's something different. If
Are
we not beefing?
Are y'all really beefing? No, would you call it beef? You said it's not beef.
Well,
you said that's your brother.
It's not. I'm not going to get violent. It's definitely like him coming.
But drag Jay-Z's inner circle, platinum-selling rappers, and even rival radio hosts into the blast radius? For iHeartRadio and Roc Nation, the nightmare isn't just one fallen star. It's a mass exposure waiting to detonate. The dominoes are lined up, and if Dame goes scorched earth, names could hit headlines before anyone has a chance to spin the story. Executives tied to both camps admit the panic is real. Emergency meetings, frantic calls, and sleepless nights as they brace for the fallout. The Breakfast Club brand, already wobbling, is bracing for another earthquake. Sponsorship teams are in war mode, gaming out worst-case scenarios. One senior source inside Power 105.1 admitted off record. If those files drop, this isn't just Charlamagne's mess. It's everybody's problem. We're talking contracts, relationships, entire careers on the line. Even the rumor of a bigger conspiracy has artists running for cover. One already pulled out of a scheduled appearance, citing unforeseen circumstances. The industry is stuck in wait-and-see mode. But no one's betting on a clean resolution this time. And here's the wildest part. The streets haven't even seen a shred of Dame's so-called proof yet. The speculation alone has become the weapon. Just whispers of tapes, secret deals, or old messages are enough to trigger panic. The tabloids are circling like sharks, while social media detectives dig through old Breakfast Club interviews, replaying clips, connecting dots, and hunting for hidden meanings. Once that studio was the nerve center of hip-hop culture, a throne room for artists chasing legitimacy. Now, it's looking more like ground zero for a scandal that could shake the whole industry to its core. Now it feels like a leak just waiting to explode. A stage with curtains ready to rip wide open. The air is thick with dread and this weird electric excitement. Charlamagne's downfall is already a spectacle, but the bigger question is, who else goes down with him? If Dame Dash flips that switch, this won't just be one man's takedown. It could drag the whole industry's secrets into daylight. Every player with skeletons is suddenly rechecking their texts, scrubbing old emails, and praying Dame's bluff is just that, a bluff. Because if those files drop, every seat at the table gets shaky and nobody feels untouchable anymore. So where does this lead? Is Charlamagne just a victim of a master smear campaign? Or was he always the puppet who finally got caught with the strings showing? And if Dame really has the smoking gun, who else stands to lose their empire in the fall? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because if you think this story is wild, just wait until the next secret hits. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Keep your receipts close, because in this game, nobody's safe when the real drama comes knocking.